I'm very bad at presenting jokes.
You have a bad life.
Sad face. It is the SuperClash podcast, episode 53.
Don't die on me now.
Oh my gosh. Dear God. I am your host, Kale.
I'm Connor, and I'm shocked.
Yeah?
Yeah, I thought you were having a moment over there. I thought we were going to have to call an ambulance.
No, if I'm having an issue, you can fucking Uber me to the hospital. I'm not paying for an ambulance.
That's fair.
Because this is America.
We'll wheel you outside and hope someone finds you.
Yeah, but now I'm sad, especially since all the events going on here in our country right now, which I won't get into. I've been close to basically an emotional and nervous breakdown ever since, just with everything going on.
I feel you, man.
So, but other than that, how was your week, Connor?
Very busy.
Yeah.
We've been playing a lot of games, my dude.
Dude, this week has just been very, very difficult to get through. Like, some of the games are really good, but just in general, it was very difficult to play all these games, even though they're only about 2.5 hours.
And what I try to do when I pick games, so I'll take ownership. I was the one who picked the games for this week. I normally just go through my backlog of games and just pick at random until, they total around 10 hours to beat. And it just so happened that like 3 of the 4 that I picked were pretty challenging games.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, that's my bad, but
but we got through it. But before we kind of get into those games, Connor and I, we did beat Sniper Elite 4, the main game.
Yeah, we did.
Or at least since the last time that we recorded.
Yes.
And I gotta say, man, I fucking love this series.
Yeah.
I love the Sniper Elite games.
I definitely want to go play that DLC like we talked about.
Yes, which we might this weekend, because I think it's a 2-parter DLC and Target Führer, which you get to kill Hitler.
Yay.
And I think that's the DLC where they started kind of leaning further into the Hitman formula, to where you can kill Hitler in different ways, and you get an achievement for shooting him in the testicles.
Nice.
So, and they also have one in Sniper Elite 5, and it's only $7.
Really?
So, yeah, so it's not too bad. And I will say, I won't give you much detail. I played a little bit of Sniper Elite 5. I think I got halfway through the tutorial level, and it's really good. I did text you earlier that the game can run at 4K 60.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if that was like resolution and performance mode. I was looking through the options. I couldn't see anything, so I think the game is just set at 4K 60.
That's good if so.
Yeah, and there is trigger support in the game as well, which is awesome. And there's also like a lot of cool little features that weren't in Sniper Elite 4 I won't get into, but I think we're going to have a good time playing this game when you get it.
I'm excited if Amazon will somehow make it appear at my door soon.
Hopefully, because if we can manage to play through the DLCs and you get yours, Sunday, whenever you get your mail,
Mm-hmm.
we can play it Sunday night, and because Memorial Day is coming up, we can play it on Memorial Day.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited for this, and I'm also excited for the games we're talking about tonight, because I have a lot of thoughts on one specifically.
Uh-huh. Probably the same one that I have thoughts on.
Yes. But before we get into that, Connor, let's get physical.
Oh, I like it when you ask nicely. All right, so this week we have quite a few releases to talk about. So let's get started. We have, from Limited Run Games, Sam and Max Beyond Time and Space, which will sell for $35. The standard edition is only on the Switch, and it's a remastered version of Telltale's second season of the episodic Sam and Max games, which involve a rabbit and a dog solving 5 interconnected cases. Have you ever played any of the Sam & Max games?
I haven't, but I've been wanting to ever since I learned that they were Telltale.
Yeah. So there's also a collector's edition available on Switch for $80 and on PC for $70. And this will include a bonus feature DVD, a mini CD, postcards, mini print, 6 time cards, a flyer, a drink coaster, a case file envelope, a Subway token, and a sticker. The pre-orders for that one will close on June 5th.
So plenty of time by the time this episode comes out.
Yeah, that's what I like to give people some time to get their orders in. And a lot of times, if you want to get info on these games before we talk about them, the pre-order windows are usually 30 days on a lot of these games. So.
Right.
The next one, Sam & Max, this time it's virtual, is $35. Limited run games, exclusive again. It's PSVR only, so on PS4. It's a virtual reality Sam & Max game where the heroes must discover the secrets of Cap'n Aquabear's theme park. There's also a collector's version available for PS4 for $80, PC for $70, and it includes the original soundtrack, a reversible poster, acrylic standees, art cards, pin badge, and keychain. Pre-orders also close June 5th for that one. The next game is from a site we have yet to talk about because they haven't had a release since we've started doing this segment, but it's Rain on Your Parade from Premium Edition Games. And that release will be $50, Switch only, and Rain on Your Parade is a slapstick comedy game where you play as a mischievous cloud, and you play across a wide range of levels while unlocking new abilities and mechanics that get progressively more ridiculous. This release includes a double-sided insert, full-color manual, numbered challenge card, slipcase, and dog tag. The retro edition of this game is also available for $70. It includes everything mentioned before, plus an NES-style box, a create-your-own vinyl kit, wooden coaster, enamel pin.
I'm looking at some of these screenshots for this game. They look great.
Yeah, and only 500 copies will be available of the retro edition. So if you want that, you probably need to hop on that. And the pre-order's in for that June 10th.
Awesome. I might have to get this, especially since it looks like you can customize the face of your cloud.
Yeah.
This I might be into this. I wonder if this is multiplayer, if it's co-op or something.
I'm not certain, but it seemed cool.
I'm into it. This looks awesome.
There's one more release from Premium Edition Games to cover, and that's Wonderling DX, also for $50 and also Switch only. And in this game, you race against the clock to beat tricky puzzles and collect shiny items for your evil overlord. Carrot Man is the beloved hero of the kingdom, and you must destroy him. The only issue is that you play as the weakest enemy in the game. So, this release includes a double-sided insert, full-color manual, numbered challenge card, slipcase, and dog tag. Again, there's a retro edition that will be available for $70. Includes everything previously mentioned, an NES-style box, vinyl stickers, CD soundtrack, and enamel pin. The pre-orders for this also close June 10th.
Nice.
Yeah. So maybe if you're interested in that one too, you can order both of them at the same time, and boom, there you go. So the last two releases are wide releases, so they're not limited to any particular retailer. The first is Mario Strikers Battle League.
Yes.
That one releases at $60. It's Switch exclusive, of course, because it's Mario. It's getting a wide release, so you can get it from any retailer. You have to try to get the most goals by tackling enemies, using items, and pulling off special shots. It's a 5v5 soccer game with no rules. Character customization will change stats and appearance, and it features characters from the Super Mario franchise.
I am so excited for this. I was ecstatic when this was announced because I had a memory of a Mario soccer game, and it was all the way back on the GameCube, I believe, and we haven't had one since.
Yeah.
And with me being a really big soccer fan, I was really, really hoping for a soccer game that wasn't FIFA.
Yeah.
And I felt like Mario Strikers would have been perfect, and then this game gets announced. This is going to be a day one purchase for me.
Nice.
So I'm super excited for this.
It releases June 10th, so it's coming out soon.
Very soon, probably like 2 weeks from now.
Yeah. The last game is probably another one you're also interested in.
Yep.
It's The Quarry. which releases for $60 on PS4 and Xbox One and $70 on PS5 and Series X. It's getting a wide release. You can get it pretty much anywhere. It's from the devs of Until Dawn and the Dark Pictures series, and every choice shapes the story. It includes new cutting-edge facial capture and lighting techniques, and you can play with up to 7 friends online or with couch co-op. If you prefer to watch instead of play the game, then there's also a movie mode that allows you just to watch the story. This releases on June 10th as well.
Very excited for this too, but might have to go for Mario Strikers first and maybe pick up the Quarry. Maybe we can play it together since it's couch co-op, but that's gonna be a lot of money. To get both of those games in one day.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of good stuff coming out in this next few weeks. So
yeah, so I'm very excited. So let's get physical. Let's dive right into the 4 games we're talking about.
But first
what?
But first, I got a game to review.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Cabbage.
Connor, I'm sorry.
That gerbil brain, I tell you,
I know,
man.
especially near the end of the day. So, Connor, you had a code sent to you by a friend that directed a game.
Yes.
That's awesome. Tell me about it.
My good friend Josh French over at East Asia Soft sent me.
Yeah, I follow him on Twitter.
Yeah. He sent me a code for Otaku Cross. I'm probably butchering the name, but it is a mahjong game that features basically I mentioned it last time, there's a type of character in anime and a lot of that sort of culture that's called like an otanoko, I believe, or I'm probably butchering that as well. Sorry. It's where there's a male character that looks like a female character, basically. It's a common trope. If you've watched enough anime, you'll definitely see a character like this at some point. So the whole premise of this game is you have this series of different characters in the game, and each character has 4 stages with 3 levels to each stage. And on the final stage, it kind of it doesn't make them fully nude, but it undresses the characters in the last stage. And if you beat the game, you can technically unlock a full nude mode if you really want to. So far, it's currently only a PC game. That's how they can get away with that.
Right.
So I went ahead and I've never played Mahjong before. I want to put that out in the open. I've never played Mahjong, so honestly, I was very intimidated when I first started this game and kind of nervous about it. But my wife has played Mahjong games before, so she kind of gave me a quick crash course. And let me tell you, Mahjong is addictive. Like,
really?
Dude, I was having a hard time putting down this game. Like, you have these different tiles. Have you played Solitaire, right?
Yes.
It's very similar to Solitaire, and you have to select the tiles that match one another and get to the end of the game matching all the tiles, right?
Okay.
So I went ahead and I played probably the first half of the game just on the standard difficulty, but it did get very hard. Thankfully, there is an easy mode that you can enable. So in the game, you can, in the standard mode, there's a little time bar that goes at the bottom, and you also have a bar for combos as well, and then a tally for your score. And so the more you click in rapid succession, the more your combo meter stacks up. And the more tiles you click, it moves up your time a little bit. So you get a little bit more time. So it incentivizes you not to kind of dawdle and try to find alternate things. Well, I'm one of those people that like gets stressed out by a timer. And so as the game got more and more difficult, I found myself just running out of time a lot because I would get like paralyzed looking down and seeing I only had like a quarter of the time left. I'd be like, oh. And so thankfully, if you switch it over to easy mode, it removes the time component, which is nice, but it also gets rid of the combo component and doesn't really track your score that way, which kind of sort of sucks. I kind of still wish that you could track it, but maybe it would track it differently or something along those lines. But I still really enjoyed it, and I think the the cool thing about this game is I love the bright colored aesthetic of it. The art in it is great. Like the designs of the characters is great. And the game runs super, super smooth. Like I didn't run into any sort of performance issues or anything. And I even played it on Steam Deck, and the game does not have like button support per se, but I used the touchpad on it, and I would just like, move around and then click in on the touchpad on what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I played the entire game like that, and I honestly enjoyed it. I was able to basically play the game just, technically with just one hand, with the other hand just supporting the system.
Nice.
So,
cool.
Yeah. Overall, I would give this game probably, I'd say a solid, oh man, this is tough. Probably like a solid 8.5. And the reason I say that is I wish there was a little bit more, I guess, variety to the levels and how they present them. Most of the levels were kind of the same layout. I mean, the layout of the tiles was always different, but it was, you click on a character, you do stage 1, you do bump, 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 there are 3 levels. The next one, bump, 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 there are 3 levels. So it was very, very linear in the way they did things. I think they could have done it a little bit more dynamically, maybe vary it from different character to different character. They could have even done like a really cool like crossover with a couple of the characters on a big puzzle or something. So, but I mean, it's just all minor complaints. I would recommend it to anybody who wants to play a solid Mahjong game.
Awesome.
I had a great time with it. So
sweet. I gotta check out Mahjong.
Yeah, it's fun. If you want to try this one, it's I think it's pretty cheap on Steam, and it's a lot of fun.
Awesome. I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's try this again. We have 4 games to talk about tonight. Just Ignore Them, Xenocrysis, Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, and VVVVVV.
Yeah.
I have to count that out.
You had to count it out last time.
I know, because it's tough, because you have to say it in its entirety. You just can't say.
And there's a reason you want to get the correct number of V's, right, Kale?
Yes, which we will get into when we talk about that game. So let's go. Let's start.
Words.
Words are hard. Let's start with Just Ignore Them. This is a game developed by Stranger Games and Grab the Games, released in 2019. You can get this for Xbox, PC, Switch, and PS4.
And Vita.
And
because that's what I played it on.
Oh, really? That's cool. And you can generally beat this in about 2.5 hours. All these games that we're going to talk about tonight, you can beat in about 2.5 hours. Just Ignore Them is a point-and-click adventure where you play as a characters trying to run from a monster that seems to follow them and leaving behind misfortune on everyone they come in contact with. It's almost like It Follows a little bit.
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
Just with some major differences, but the idea itself is kind of the same.
Mm-hmm.
The main character's dad was a scientist working on an experiment. This is probably where the monsters that he sees come from, and that's kind of what the story is centered around, him trying to get answers for this. It's a pretty engaging story.
Yeah.
It kept my attention the entire time. I was concerned for the characters, and I was not expecting the story to go in the direction it did.
It definitely, in the beginning, it definitely made you think, oh, there's a monster under the bed kind of situation.
Yeah,
right?
I thought the whole game was gonna be you as 8-year-old Mark just trying to get through the night, and then him realizing that it was just his active imagination.
Yeah.
And then the reveal of your mother's mutilated body.
Yeah.
And then it fast forwards 10, I want to say maybe 15 years.
Yeah, you become an adult, basically. Yeah.
And because it's a point-and-click adventure game, this has a lot of experimentation. Combine things you find even though they may not make sense, or if you're stuck. I think it's pretty kind, generally, for a point-and-click. I know some older point-and-clicks, like if you die, you have to start all over from the beginning.
Yeah.
This one doesn't really start you back that far, and it's actually really difficult to die.
You really can only die in the initial segments that I've seen.
Yeah. I died the most in the beginning.
Yeah.
And that's really about it. And it's not so much scary as it is unsettling.
Yeah, Yeah, there's just some creepy moments to it.
And as the game goes on, it kind of pays homage to the Langoliers, the Stephen King story.
I am not familiar.
What the Langoliers is about, at least in the beginning, where people are on an airplane and they wake up and all the passengers are gone.
Okay.
Sound familiar now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed this game. I think this one was probably my favorite game amongst the 4 that we played.
Okay.
It is a bit finicky on console.
What did you play it on?
I played it on PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5.
Okay, I played it on Vita.
Yeah, I felt like I probably would have been better playing on PC just because it is a point and click. The cursor was really slow for me when trying to figure things out. My cat liked to follow it though. Fuzzball was just like laying on the floor and I was moving the cursor around. I saw him turn his head quickly and his head started spinning around in circles as I was trying to figure it out.
I'm trying to think if I had any issues with the cursor. I thought it was a little like finicky too much. Like it moved around a little too snappy for me. But I'm playing with much smaller joysticks on the Vita.
Yeah. What'd you think of this game, Connor?
I liked it well enough. I didn't expect the story to take the turn that it did. Did you? So you do realize there's like multiple endings, right?
Yes, I got the good ending.
I got the bad ending.
Yeah, but
did you have to try again to get it, or did you?
No, I got lucky.
Okay, so it was just your first playthrough.
That was my first playthrough. I got the good ending.
I recommended it to you, and I will say this for anybody interested in playing it: save after you make different choices and decisions and stuff, because I didn't save like the entire time. I just did it basically in like a single setting, basically. And the problem is I got all the way to the end, got the bad end, and I was like, oh, I might want to try to get the good end because I didn't save.
Oh no!
I'd have to go all the way back to the beginning and do that.
Damn.
So
did you play through the game in its entirety twice, or
No.
did you just do a lookup of what the good ending was?
I looked it up because I was like, with all these other games that we had to play, I was like, I'm not going to redo that.
Yeah.
But I think the story was creepy. I think you don't see a lot of horror games in this art style, the kind of top-down pixelated. You don't see a lot of that. And they were still able to make it fairly gruesome.
Oh, yeah.
The mangled bodies and stuff like that. And I'm kind of bummed because, like, the way that mine ended sort of makes the main character a really bad guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you want to talk about the endings?
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about the endings. If you guys are interested in this game, turn it off now. So my ending was I managed to find the formula as I was searching, and I had it in my inventory.
We should probably explain what is actually happening in this game.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Because otherwise, they're not going to understand what the formula is. Or any of that
so
stuff.
I'll let you go ahead and take this one, Connor.
Okay, so like when you start the game, you assume that, this little kid is imagining a monster in his closet, right? And the reality of the situation is the father was doing these experiments to basically capture somebody's like thoughts or their soul or their mind inside.
It was the Life After Death project.
Yeah. It seemed like maybe he was trying to capture like when somebody dies, put their spirit into like a robot or something.
Like basically, like his note said that all the person's personality, memories, and everything are stored into the brain, and essentially what he was trying to do is put that brain in something else to basically so you can never technically die.
Yeah,
is basically what he was trying to do.
Yeah, and so it's implied, I think, that the father did this to himself and is one of the monsters. Per se.
Yes.
And there's additionally, 2 other monsters, I'm pretty sure?
There's one that will repeat what you say,
and
I don't know what the other one is. I can't remember.
Is it the tentacly one?
I think so.
Yeah. And so your character is trying to find a host body to bring his mother back.
Mm-hmm.
And you end up finding this woman at this hotel, and you bring her along with you. And so the end game is, you want to get her back to this facility and transfer your mother's consciousness into this body or this person. So what was your ending then?
I mixed the formula into a different formula, and the woman that came with me was kind of turned into like this eldritch, powerful monster but was still like self-aware.
Mm-hmm.
And she basically killed everyone in the room, but except me. And like, your mother said, "Hey, it's me. I love you. You have to move on. Take care of this woman." Because as the story goes on, you kind of have an attraction with this woman that you find at the hotel.
Okay.
And you save them, and you two just decide to just kind of travel together.
Interesting.
So it's a lot more nuanced than that.
Yeah.
But that's the Spark Notes version of it.
Mine
but
was
the
very
monster
similar.
but the monster still follows you.
Really?
Yeah. So because there is an ending where he shows up at a diner before the credits roll that you were just in.
I see. And mine, the whole transforming thing happens, except I believe she like goes crazy and just kills everybody, and then like talks to me as her son, and I think that's just how it ends. So it was really late at night when I finished it, and I was like, what the hell just happened? I remember like, what? So yeah, I think I just got the bad end where like I think she said something along the lines of like, she's gone forever now. Like the woman who I was traveling with, she's gone forever now. It's just me. But like, it's like the mom is like evil maybe. So like maybe she's like combined with whatever you did to her. I don't know.
Interesting.
And she's got like crazy hair and all that stuff.
Yeah, I got that same sprite. Just I think the dialogue was just different.
Gotcha. So yeah, interesting game though. What would you rate it?
I would rate it like a 7.
7?
I don't see myself replaying this game, but I did enjoy the journey.
Yeah, so I'd probably give it a same rating, especially given the relatively low price of the game.
Oh yeah, it was like what? How much?
I think the regular retail is like $5 on it.
Yeah, it's definitely worth $5, especially since only 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
So let's move on to Xenocrysis.
Oh, we're going that route, huh?
Yes. This is developed by Bitmap Bureau, released in 2019. You can get this for PC, Switch, PS4, and Evercade, which is what you played it on.
Yep.
This is an arcade-style twin-stick shooter made to look like an 80s, 90s arcade game, but it has modern roguelike elements. It's heavily inspired by Alien and Tremors.
It definitely seems that way.
This game, it's really fun to play in the moment. When you're shooting it and killing monsters, it's fun. But this game is infuriating.
It's balls to the wall hard.
And the creator said that his intention was to invoke the feel of a classic arcade with its difficulty. Because classic arcade cabinets have games that were difficult, especially with like game over statuses and everything. But here's the thing. Arcade games were more difficult because they wanted your money. That's how arcade games made their money.
Yeah.
I watched something on YouTube where someone proved that, I want to say, the second person that you fight in Mortal Kombat 2 deliberately cheats in the arcade version because that's what incentivizes you to keep putting in quarters. Compare this to Smash TV, which was an arcade game. I think I actually played it at a movie theater downtown a couple years ago. And that game is not nearly as hard as this. And it kind of follows the same style. It's a top-down twin-stick shooter. The gameplay loop of this is you basically have to clear out rooms while getting pickups till you fight the boss. You can choose between two characters, a male and female soldier.
Hmm.
I believe they have different stats.
They're slightly different.
I played both. I think the woman has more health, but
Yeah.
the man has more ammo.
Seems right.
You only die 3 times before you lose permanently, and you need to start over.
And you can't even use one reset.
Yes, because you won't be able to fight the end boss.
Correct.
It's something to do with the story, which I will get into in a little bit. Actually, before I say this, as you clear rooms, you will get pickups as like different guns. And you pick up dog tags, which is basically like your currency for this game. You use dog tags to upgrade your stats.
Yeah.
Like more health, more ammo, makes your guns more powerful, and I don't think they mean a crock of dicks.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Except for ammo and health. I upgraded my weapon to its full power, and I felt like I was doing just as much damage at level 1 than level 3.
Well, because along the way they're throwing harder and harder creatures at you that take more
Exactly.
hits, so it's like net zero on it, you know.
So, and that's the thing. Like I do not. It basically has the same problem that I had with Carrion. Is I feel like I'm not getting any more powerful as the game goes on.
Yeah. Except in this one, I legitimately. So, I think we should preface this by saying there are cheats for this game.
Yes.
There are cheats for unlimited lives, unlimited health, and then there's some for like you can do
Unlimited ammo.
and there's like a horde mode too where you can just, and there's a boss rush mode, but there's different modes that you can do with cheats. I played through after dying repeatedly, and once you die 3 times, unless you have a bunch more dog tags to pay for stuff, which you don't get enough, you have to start all the way over at the beginning. And I got kind of frustrated with that, so I put in the cheats, and I did the unlimited lives, which I think is the best way to play it, because that actually feels more like an arcade. Because in an arcade, typically speaking, when you play and you die, what happens when you die?
Continue.
And they ask you to put another quarter.
Yep.
And so when you die and you get to come back in, it's like an arcade game more that way than anything.
Yes.
So I will say, though, what I was getting to is I played through with the unlimited lives, got probably to the 5th or 6th level, and the amount of enemies that they throw at you and the amount of damage they can take, if I didn't have unlimited lives, I don't know. I cannot feasibly imagine how you could make it to the end of this game without dying once.
Even the weapons that you pick up later in the game, or just in the game in general, they feel exceptionally weak. I feel like the only weapons that were viable were the homing projectiles or the shotgun.
The minigun was decent.
Minigun was good. The BFG was fucking useless.
Yeah, the shotgun itself was just kind of pointless, too.
Another thing I had an issue with is I felt like the projectiles that the enemy shot you at were way too small. There were a lot of times I felt like I got hit by nothing.
Yeah, and there's technically a melee in this game, but it's literally just you walk up to somebody. But at the exact same time, sometimes when you walk up to them, you hit them, and sometimes they'll hit you. So it's like, it's a complete crapshoot. And, you know, when the max amount of hearts I think you can get as the male
It's
character
5.
Was it 5 or was it 7? If you upgrade all the way.
I want to. Maybe you're right. Maybe it is 7.
I think it was 7 because I upgraded mine all the way, and it's still not enough. Like, there were levels where I walk into a room, and the room has maybe, you know, like a tiny little path where you can walk where there's not enemies, and otherwise there's enemies everywhere. And it's not like unlimited ammo. It is in a sense, but you have to pick up ammo boxes around. They give you plenty. But if you run out of ammo in the middle of a pile of creatures and the ammo box spawn on the other side of the level, like, you know, you're going to take some hits getting over there.
And you can roll in this game, but you don't get any iframes when you roll.
Yeah. The roll is literally, I found it only to be really useful to take out the shields on the shield guys.
Yeah.
But that's what makes this game so infuriating. And then I went through and I read the comments on like the Steam page, I think, and people were like, well, this is just how games were. I'm 45 years old and games used to be harder back then. And I'm like, harder doesn't mean good. I don't know where you got this idea that making the game stupid hard is good, but it's just frustrating. I don't know why anybody would approach this and be like, yeah, I love starting over and over and over
from
again.
the very beginning, mind you.
Yeah. Like,
because coming from me, I know I've said this 1,000 times. I'm a Souls guy. I love the Souls games, but even the Souls games are not this punishing.
no. It's not fun. I think, I don't know. I don't know where this mentality is, because like I grew up playing games from this era. It was a 16-bit era, so Super Nintendo era. That was what I started gaming on. And if a game back then was stupid fucking hard and nobody could beat it, everybody was like, yeah, this game's trash. And it probably is, like games need to be accessible, they need to be fun, they need to have a good game loop to them. Playing and dying, playing and dying, playing and dying isn't a good game loop. There's no reward for playing. And if you get to the end of the game and you've used cheats or died once, you can't fight the final boss? Like, fuck you. Fuck you for doing that. That's bullshit.
Yeah, and I'm very split on like difficulty and accessibility, because like I'm all for accessibility for people who want to experience a game who may not be as good at the game as someone else. But at the same time, I feel like the difficulty of a game is what makes the game, like the Souls series. But the Souls series, I felt like if you were to put accessibility options like less damage to you, it takes away from the initial point of the game. But at the same time, if it did have the accessibility in it, it won't hurt my experience.
Yeah.
The best way to approach that is just have the default be off, and you can access the accessibility if you want.
Or another good option is have a regular difficulty mode that's not like fuck you hard, and then put a nightmare mode in after you beat the game once. Because the hardcore fans that played through the entire game and want a more difficult challenge, good on them. Let them have it. That's perfectly fine. But if you want your average person to play this game and enjoy it, and you're going to punish them for using cheats too, just to play through the story. And by the way, there's a hard and easy mode to this game. They're the fucking same. I could not tell a difference.
No, you're right. I couldn't tell the difference either.
They were both impossibly hard. And by the time you get probably to the third level, I feel like the difficulty curve is just so fucking high that it's I don't know. This game was infuriating to me to play.
This was more of a chore than it was the game.
Yeah, I wanted to be done with it. And honestly,
me too.
Even though I couldn't fight the final boss, I was like, whatever, fuck it. And I just put it down and I was done. I was just like, meh.
So I wouldn't recommend this game if you're looking just for a twin stick shooter. There's better twin stick shooters out there that are a lot more fun. I want to look up some twin stick shooters, because I generally like twin stick shooters. I enjoy twin stick shooters. I enjoy them a lot. But
so what would you give this game?
5.
I was actually thinking the same thing, and the reason is I give it a 5, and that's me being generous just because I liked the art style. I thought the creature design was pretty unique and varied. They had a bunch of different creature designs, so I will not complain on that.
A lot of homages to like xenomorphs and everything.
Yeah.
So and some of those, the sprites looked good, as you said. They look great.
Yeah.
The game just fucking sucks.
Yeah. Just honestly, just make the air quotes cheat mode infinite lives thing. Just make it default in that game, and then allow us to fight the final boss. Like, there's story reason that you use this drug.
Who cares?
That if you use the drug, I can get control over you and you can't fight me. It's dumb. It's a dumb gimmick, and it's like one of those games that's like it's trying too hard to be hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's basically like, I'm gonna beat a dead horse here. It's for people who brag about wanting to beat hard games.
Yeah.
And they're the type of people that say, "Oh, well, Dark Souls isn't that hard." Well, guess what? Dark Souls, the difficulty is not the point of the game.
Yeah.
It is a result of everything that is Dark Souls. What's more important to me in the Dark Souls games is the story, the lore, the builds.
Mm-hmm.
Like in a list of things I love about the Souls series, the difficulty is like 20.
Yeah. Difficulty has never been a draw for me in a game ever. It has always either been story or gameplay.
Yeah.
I'll play a game if the gameplay is fun, and even if it has a story or a non-existent story, it's fine.
Right.
Or I'll play a game if the story's great. Maybe the gameplay's a little rough, but the story was fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never approached a game being like, yeah, give me something that's so hard I'm just pissed. Yeah, no.
This will ruin your evening.
Yeah, it's not good. I would give it a 5 as well, and that's me being generous.
Yeah.
That's me just forgiving it because of the art.
And don't at us because we're complaining it's too hard, because we're not reading them anyway.
Yeah, don't give me that get good shit. Leave me alone. I don't care.
Yeah. So now with that out of the way, let's move on to a game that you seem to enjoy, but I got maybe 45% infuriated at. Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. Okay. This is a fighting game developed by Inway, released in 2019. You can get this for PlayStation, Xbox, PC, and Switch. So, it's a Power Rangers game.
Yeah.
Where an alternative dimension, Tommy Oliver, who's the White Ranger, was trained under the Rangers' arch nemesis, Rita Repulsa. He hunts down all the other Rangers from across the universes, and the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers team up with the other Rangers to fight back.
Yes.
That's essentially what I got. Here's the thing. I want to say there's two things about this game. Number one, I was never really a Power Rangers kid growing up. Yeah, I know. I was the perfect age for the Power Rangers. I liked the movie. I liked the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but I never really watched the show.
Okay.
And two, I fucking loathe fighting games.
I don't know why, man.
Let me say this. Just because I loathe those games does not mean I hold it against anyone that enjoys them. Because as I said, different strokes for different folks. I just find them extremely unfriendly to newcomers. Like, God help you if you go against someone even slightly more skilled than you.
Yeah.
And I just get bored with them after about 20 minutes. It's like, I'll do a couple rounds, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. I've seen all I wanted. I got all I wanted out of this game. With the exception of two games, Gang Beasts, which is more of a party game than a fighter.
Yeah.
And Super Smash Brothers, which I would consider more of a party game than a fighter. I understand there is a very like hardcore competition community for Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
But that game is still way more friendly than this one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think kind of building off what you said about the difficulty, I will say if you don't go through the training in the game, there's a separate section for training, and you go through and play it just on the normal difficulty, it is really hard because the enemies will come right out of the gates pulling off like 20 hit combos on you. So that part I will agree with, but I feel like if you either play the training or you drop the difficulty down to easy, it's a pretty accessible fighter.
Yeah, like I will say some of the characters were fun to play.
Oh yeah.
but I still had to resort to just one combo to even get ahead of whatever. Like, I basically had to do what I do in Super Smash Bros. When I play Pikachu. Down B, down B, down B, down B, down B, and hope I get a result. But, the game looks great, though. Like, for a indie studio, the game looks great. The character models look great. And from what I researched, they got the OG actors from the show to come and reprise their roles.
See, there was good and bad to that.
Really?
I don't know if you caught this. The voice acting itself was just fine. No issues. The audio quality for the voice acting was bad.
I must have missed that.
They had to have been recording on like $100 mics or cheaper, because when the characters would yell, it would crackle the mic, and there was a lot of popping, a whole lot of popping. Like, they clearly did not record it with high quality mics, which is kind of a bummer.
Here I am doing the shifty eyes as we're recording on $100 mics.
But hey, we're an amateur podcast. This is a video game that's licensed by a major franchise. So, like,
Okay. Makes sense.
There's a big difference. But I want to say, so I played it on Switch. You played it on PS4, just so we can get that out of the way. I played it in handheld pretty much the entire time, and I used the Demon X Machina controller for it, the grippies for it.
Oh, I think I've seen those at Target.
They kind of look like a Pro controller, but they're Joy-Cons that slide on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that was great to play it that way. I'll let you know right now.
Awesome.
So I liked the story of the game. I thought the premise was really cool. One of the Rangers basically goes rogue and starts attacking all these other universes of Rangers that are from the series. So it was almost like a Spider-Man No Way Home sort of game before Spider-Man No Way Home came out, because it was a multiverse kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're playing as, there's like samurai rangers, there's dinosaur ones, there's ones in giant mechs, there's like evil rangers, it's like all this really cool like crossover stuff. And I think for the most part, other than there was a couple characters that were basically reskins of each other, the character variety and their move variety was really, really good for a fighter. Like, the characters were very distinct. It didn't feel like I was using the same fighter every round.
Okay.
And in the story, as you're playing through, you kind of go back and forth playing as the villain characters and the good characters. Villain characters, good characters, based on who in the story should have won that fight,
Mm-hmm.
And you play as the person who's going to win that fight. And I thought that was really cool. And just overall, like, I'm not a great fighter player.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up playing like Street Fighter 2. That was one of my favorite fighters of all time. So I have a lot of appreciation for fighters. Played a lot of the Mortal Kombat games growing up, the Dead or Alive games. And this one I really, really did enjoy playing. I know that I'm not super good at it because I was not getting down a lot of the combos. But I think as long as you kind of have a decent enough strategy when you're playing, make sure you use like up moves, down moves, back moves, side moves, and then use your power-ups when you get them, or save them up and use a big power-up move on them. You can have a fun time playing this game. And I think I did, and it kind of actually surprised me because a lot of licensed games are just dog shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way the cookie crumbles. And you wouldn't think that a Power Rangers game made by a studio that's not one of the big ones would come out and actually be this competent. Like, visually, it looked great.
Yeah.
The audio, the lines that were recorded were done well, just not on good quality equipment, it sounded like. And I don't know. I had a fun time. What'd you think?
Well, like I said, once I got it down, even though I fucking loathe fighting games, I had a okay enough time with it. Again, it wasn't my favorite game to play in these choices, but I thought it was fine after I got used to it.
Okay.
So that's just my bias. Personally, I feel like if I liked fighting games at the same level you did, I probably would have given it a better score.
What did you think you gave it? What score?
Maybe slightly above Xenocrysis. I would maybe give it like a 6.
Really? I'd probably put it maybe around an 8.5.
Okay.
Just because it was a lot of fun, and I think the only dock for me was the audio recording, and I think so. I got the release of the game that Limited Run Games did, which was before all of this extra DLC came out. So I don't have all the characters, and I'm kind of bummed that the roster wasn't bigger for the base game.
I looked at it. It was about like 12 characters, I think.
Yeah. And then if you had like the higher editions of the game that came out later, you'd get a much bigger roster. And so that's another dock for me, is like, you hit a lot of the characters behind DLC.
Yeah.
So
a little scummy, but they got to make their money somehow.
yeah.
But all right, so last game of the night is VVVVVV. I don't know how many V's that were, but then there's actually a reason why it's called that, which I will get into in a little bit. But first, I want to go on a little rant here.
Uh-oh.
First, I want to come out the gate and say, fuck you to Becker Dev Studio. Because they have a game that's called VVVVV, which is 5 V's and not 6. I bought this game thinking that this was the game that you picked, because it was literally the first one to come up on search, because for one it was on sale. I was like, okay, great, this is good. When I started playing the game, first of all, it opens up in windowed mode, which is like, okay, that's a little weird, but whatever. And you had to control it with the WASD and like basically the entirety of the keyboard is what you had to use to control your character. That's a little weird as well, but it's probably just the style of the game. Okay, whatever. And then I started thinking, this can't be it. This cannot be what Connor did. And so I looked at it again, and then I found the proper game. This game, even though what I played was competent, immediately gets docked down to me never playing this fucking game, because Becker Dev Studio did not have the confidence in their own game to the point where they had to deceive you by, making the title of this game close to the title of another game.
One letter different.
One letter difference. It's not illegal, but it's fucking vile.
It's definitely scum. And a lot of the reviews, I was looking at it after you mentioned it, a lot of the reviews were like, dude, this is shitty. Like,
have some confidence in yourself, for God's sakes. You know? Yeah. Like, why do you have to resort to basically that knockoff Disney movies?
Yeah.
It's awful, and I'm sorry, Becker Dev Studio. I don't care if you spent 2 years making this game. I'm never gonna play it out just by default.
Yeah, and does that title even have anything to do with their game, or was it just...
No, it does not look like it. So
it was just a...
Fuck you, Becker Dev Studios. So, moving on, though.
Make sure if you're going to buy this game that we're discussing, it's one that has 6 V's in the title.
Yes. And the reason why this... first of all, V times 6, I'll just say that, is developed by Terry Kavanagh. I believe I'm saying his last name correctly. Released in 2010. You can get this for PC, I believe Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, anything else?
I'm not sure. I think it might be on iOS.
Yeah, you can get it for mobile as well.
Yeah.
So...
And you played it on PC, right?
Yeah, I played it on PC.
I did Steam Deck, so technically PC.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So... Basically, this looks like an old Atari game. It kind of has that same... Not really Atari, but...
I could say maybe Atari.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah. And it's a side-scroller where you play as a captain who must evacuate a spaceship along with his crew when the ship becomes affected by a dimensional interference. And then the crew gets separated, and the captain needs to track them down and kind of bring them back on the ship. And I'm sorry if you can hear that car in the background. That was really loud.
Someone has a small penis.
Yes. That's me.
Aww.
No, I'm just joking. So, this game, for one, this game is somewhat akin to Super Meat Boy a little bit. So you enter a room with lots of deadly obstacles and attempt to maneuver through them. And you maneuver through them by basically shifting the gravity to get to platforms by pressing up or down on W or S on the keyboard, or you can just press space.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how you maneuver obstacles. And this is why the game is called what it is, because all those V's look like spikes.
Yep.
And that is what your main obstacle is going to be, are spikes.
Yes.
So, this game is super fast-paced. The music is fucking baller.
Yeah.
Love the music, and you will die a lot.
It's a lot like Katana Zero, where you hit the spikes once, you're dead, but it's forgiving enough where it spawns you back immediately.
Yes. And there's also accessibility controls, or accessibility options, where you can turn on no death mode if you want. Like, if you just want to experience the game and the levels without the punishment of dying, you can turn that on.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, which I kind of did, just to kind of get through as much as I could and experience the game. Yeah, I know. I'm a dirty cheater.
Cheaty boy.
Well, when you don't have much
I would
time.
give you the cheaty boys for Xenocrysis, because that game was shit. But,
yeah.
But this one was actually, other than, okay, I'll let you continue, but I did not use any cheats or change the difficulty, but my game did glitch out, and
I remember you telling me this.
Yeah.
So, you can let me finish?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
I will say, like, I didn't go into the game turning on invincibility. The only reason why I turned on invincibility is because I was running out of time before we were recording, and I still didn't beat the game in time, so.
Dang.
But this game was really good. From what I played, this game is really, really good.
Yeah, definitely.
So.
And they did challenge right. Like, it is a hard game. You will die literally hundreds, if not thousands of times.
You texted me, I want to say Tuesday when we started the week of these games, and you said you died like 500 times already.
And that was like halfway through the game, just so you know. But yeah, it's a very hard game, but it's not unfair. Like,
no, not at all.
Like, I knew when I died, like, oh, that was my bad. Oh, that was my bad. Like, I could have done something different. Like, the same way I felt about Katana Zero, where it was hard, but, like, I knew that I did something wrong, And so, I will say the only downside to this game that I have seen is there appears to be a sort of game-breaking bug that was pointed out about maybe 9 years ago, according to forums.
Yep.
That I don't think has been patched. And I forget the exact way it's triggered, but essentially what happens is if you take a certain action in the beginning of the game out of order, once you get to a certain point in the game and you collect all the crewmates that you're supposed to save, it will not let you progress to the end of the game, which is what happened to me. I went through and I rescued like all but one of the crewmates, and I got to the final one. I went through and I saved them, and then I went back to the main hub and he was not there. And I was like, what the hell did I do wrong? So I looked up the name of the crew member, and I watched a playthrough. I think it was the yellow or the green one. I cannot remember off the top of my head. But I looked up a playthrough, watched where they got the same character that it says I was still missing, and I had literally just done that mission.
Wow.
And so I was like, that's the one I'm missing. I just did that mission. What do I do? And so I went back through that same level again, seeing if maybe he popped back in there. He was not there. And so I was like, well, I'm not going to fully restart the game. I'm just going to consider it
a win.
And I feel like that's fair. I didn't get credits to roll, but I saved all the characters.
Yeah.
That seems fair to me.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. But overall, I would probably this game like at an 8 maybe because I from what I played, I really enjoyed this game.
I initially was also thinking an 8, but given my issue, I kind of have to give it a 7 because if this bug has been known for this long and you haven't fixed it yet, and I know not everybody's going to hit this bug. There's certain ways to avoid it, and I would definitely, if you're going to play this game, look up this bug and make sure it doesn't happen to you, because if you get to the end of the game and you can't finish it, you're probably going to be bummed like I was.
Yeah,
but
2 hours wasted, basically.
Yeah.
Maybe even more if you're having issues with certain areas of the game.
I think I probably put 3.5, 4 hours into it, probably.
Okay.
I could look at my Steam time, but yeah, I really, really enjoyed the game. I just wish it didn't have that bug.
All right. Sweet. And so those are the 4 games. My fucking gerbil brain and my fucking gerbil mouth.
Yummy.
So those are the 4 games that we played this week. Next week, however, we're going back down to 2. We'll be playing Project Warlock, which is a kind of a Doom-like game. I played a little bit of it.
Doomenstein?
Yeah, Doomenstein. And The Gardens Between, which is a puzzle game. I swear we're not a puzzle podcast.
I don't know. I'm starting to think we are.
Yeah, but as you said, a lot of indie titles are puzzle games.
Yeah.
But I'm really looking forward to play Gardens Between after this week.
Yeah, I need something that's a little bit more chill. I'm gonna probably go that one first and then the other one later.
So, but that'll just do it for us. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you guys next time.
Have a good one.